Sports Bettis TV, it's your boy, the Dream in the House, and I'm on with the Mad Hatter, and we are going over what happened this weekend. What's going on, y'all?
What's going on, Playboy? How you feeling today on this beautiful Monday morning?
Man, it's a little bit dreary out today, out here in Connecticut. It's a little bit overcast, but I'm doing good other than that, man.
Yeah, man, I went for a nice run this morning. I feel pretty good. Got up early, wasn't drinking yesterday, just had a couple of beers during the day, and feeling good, man. Ready to start a brand new week, man. All kinds of positive energy going on in my mantra here, kid. Feeling good.
All right, time out. You said you wasn't drinking yesterday, but you had a couple of beers in the middle of the day.
I wasn't drinking at night. Let me rephrase that. So, had a couple of beers during the day. You know, no big deal. I usually, you know, when I do it, I go ham, like we did the other night when we went out. So, you know, I kind of fell back a little bit yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I went to the Dude, the weekend was crazy, man. I actually had to go to the mall on Saturday. I go to the mall, and I went to the Apple store. Dude, the Apple store, it's like a cult, the Apple store. You walk in there, and cats is like, you know, people are like all in like technology and stuff, and this cat walks up to me, he's like, you know, you have to make an appointment, because you can't just go up in the Apple store. You got to make an appointment to go in there. Like, if you walk up in there, they like look at you like you're crazy. You know what I mean? So you have to make an appointment. You go in there, and the dude's like, hey, okay, I want to give you to Josh. Josh is going to take care of you. Step on over to the corner. I'm like, what's wrong with the spot that I'm sitting at? But, you know, I'm trying to, do what they say. So I'm over there rapping to the cat, and the dude that I'm dealing with is like knows everything. I mean, you know, and for me, you know how I am. I'm like, I know a little bit about how to do it, what I do, and that's it. Other than that, I don't know what else I could do. This dude, I swear he could launch the space shuttle right from the Apple store. He could just press a couple of buttons, and boom, they'll have a liftoff. I mean, dude, I'm like, dude, $9 an hour, are you playing yourself? But anyway, so I go in there, and I'm like, as I'm sitting in there, too, I'm looking around. There's no black people in the Apple store. I'm like, where are the brothers at? So then he got my price to fix my device, and I realized why there was no black people in the Apple store.
You're a madman,
kid. Paying that. I'd rather they could get a phone from the hood for $50 with a straight out of Compton on it.
Oh, man. All right, kids. So a bunch of stuff went down yesterday, man, in the Pittsburgh and Green Bay preseason game where Pittsburgh emerged 24-19, but some major injuries, man. Jordy Nelson, dude. What do you think about that? I think he's got a torn ACL, man. I think he's going to be done for the year. Don't know today, but that's what it's looking like, player.
That is what it's reported as. It didn't look like it, as he walked off the field like nothing.
Yeah, I know. He walked off the field like it was nothing, and he just basically jumped up, didn't even get touched, and just came down wrong.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, listen. You know what? Like one of the guys was saying yesterday, if there's any good news about it, which LaDainian Tomlinson said that yesterday. I struggle with LaDainian Tomlinson in the at the desk. I don't know, something about him. He just doesn't seem comfortable. I don't know. I'm struggling with him. But anyway, he says that the one good thing about it is it's happened now, so that they can get their game plan and get set with going forward without him. But obviously a huge hit. If any offense could withstand it, it's probably theirs, though, as they do have, a few other guys. It's time for other guys to just step up, and that production will go elsewhere. You got a quarterback like Rodgers. He usually gets the ball to the open receiver anyway, so I don't think that it's going to – of course it's a huge hit, but – I don't think you're going to drastically see production drop off.
Well, you got a couple of other players. You got Randall Cobb over there. You've got Ty Montgomery. You've got Devontae Adams. You got a bunch of different people they could spread the ball around to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
I watched a lot of that game. I got to be honest with you. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't know about their defense. They got a lot of defensive issues.
I think you're right, man. I think you're right. And the Marquise Pouncey they lost, I think, too. He got rolled up on it. That's their center. He lost a couple of years ago. He was out too. But I think he's going to be done now for the year. They're saying he might require surgery on that ankle as well. So costly game for both sides.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with this Pittsburgh team. I really just got to see something out of their defense. I just have not seen nothing to look good for your defense, and they're opening up against the Patriots, and I don't know, man. You give a guy like Belichick that kind of time to get prepared for you. I just don't know, but we'll keep an eye out. It is preseason. I do understand that. What are you gonna do? On another note, the Cowboys lost.
Yes, they did, man. Yes, they did. So, what's your thoughts on the Cowboys this year? I mean, I've noticed that a lot of the booty teams usually win in preseason and then get smoked in the, during the regular season.
Right.
But
that's why we don't go crazy about preseason. But, like I was saying, I mean, we talked about it on Ralph's show on Friday. You have to look at, certain things. There's certain things. You could understand that they're testing out and trying certain things, but some things you look at and you're like, if they keep getting beat deep, they keep giving up third and fours and all this, that, and the third. Some of that's gonna transgress over into the regular season too, at least the first couple of weeks anyway. So defensively, you got a lot of guys out there scratching their head, looking like they don't know what they're doing, and I know they've tried to implement a lot of new stuff. So I just think it's a matter of concern right now for them because you've never really seen the Steelers lost looking on defense. You know what I'm saying?
I totally feel you on that. Totally feel you. Well, losing all those players like we alluded to, in the previous weeks, we'll see what ends up happening with them. And we will go from there. How about my man? Did you see the USC coach at a little pep rally there?
My God. I thought it was you, son. My man got up on the podium, lit up. I was waiting for him to yell, "Who you with?"
He did pretty much in a nutshell, man. He was talking all kinds of smack against the other programs, saying all the rest of the pack sucks, and he was hammered, kid.
He was actually kind of on point with that.
Steve Sarkisian is crazy, man. I loved it. So, I don't think they're going to come down. I don't think he's going to have any kind of anything more than a verbal warning for that. That's what I'm reading so far. So there's not going to be any repercussions as far as him showing up hammered as far as that event is concerned. But that was pretty funny. I was watching a little bit of the videos, man. He's sitting there. He's just dropping F-bombs and all that. Everybody's in suits and ties at this with alumni.
Looking at him in awe, oh my God, this is a mess of epic proportions. Hey, well, I'll tell you this. He better go out and win some games this year.
Especially after that.
Yeah, after that, you go out there and have a dusty season. Cats will be like, next.
Exactly. My girl Serena Williams won another one yesterday, the Cincinnati title, on her way to the U.S. Open, player.
Son, I told you right now that this lady is trying to make history. I talked about it, I believe, on Thursday, maybe on Friday again. And I'm going to keep talking about it. She is in the midst of making history. If you're not paying attention, you might want to get out there and pay attention to her as she's looking to do what only Steffi Graf has done back in I believe it's 96 was the last female to win the Grand Slam. So she's going for it, brother. She's making history, and she looks unstoppable.
She does. She looks really good, man. How about my Undertaker pick last night for SummerSlam, kid? Ended up beating Brock Lesnar, man. You know what? It was crazy because when I announced it on the show, I was said, put it in a parlay or something like that. It was minus 210. Son, yep. It jumped all the way to minus 530 by the time the match kicked off. And at some books, it was minus 900. So, hey, it is what it is, man. I got to start selling that package, I think.
Oh, did you watch it? Was it good?
It was good, man. 4 hours. It was good. I was grilling with my kid, just sitting there. He gets it all ready. I'm like, I show up like 5 of 7. He's like, where were you? I'm like, dude, relax, man. Don't worry about it. I was out getting groceries and doing stuff like that so we could eat. You know what I mean? So, but it's cool. I'm gonna miss that. He's gonna be 14. In another 4 years, he's gonna be off to college. I'm gonna miss these days. You know what I mean? So you gotta savor these. You got to savor these moments.
Definitely. And we always, we always preach experiencing time and appreciating that time with your kids. My two guys drive me insane, but I know in a minute they won't even want to talk to me no more. Right now, I'm the greatest thing that ever walked the planet. So it's enjoyable some of these times with them. But it's also going to be enjoyable putting them on that bus.
Yes.
On Thursday, getting them to kick rocks all day, go to school.
Yes, definitely, man. When do yours go back? Thursday?
Thursday, son.
Oh, you must be loving that.
Got them all brand new, fresh gear. Spared no expense. you going back to school in style, player. Whatever you want. Just get back to school.
Yes, definitely, man. Definitely. So, the LA Dodgers, man, they lost to
Wait, because some of the nation knows this, but you don't know this. So check this out. So I leave the Apple store on Saturday, and I'm coming home. But I stop at the liquor store to pick up some booze. So I needed some stuff for the bar to restock the bar. And then, I bought a couple other things. So I ended up spending like $130 in liquor at the liquor store, right? Talk about no value.
Damn.
So I get in the car, and I'm headed home. And I get in a traffic jam, dude. Right? So meanwhile, I got $130 worth of booze in the back seat, and it's like calling me. I'm like feeling like Pookie from New Jack. I'm like, no. It's like, come on, man. What, you just gonna sit here and look stupid? Crack it. I got like a 6-pack of Red's Apple Ale that was chilled. I got those low carb drinks that I drink.
Wow.
They were all chilled too. So I'm like, yo, I'm wanting to crack one so bad. I'm thinking to myself, stop. You got to be responsible. But I'm like, yo, it was absolutely a funny situation. I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, do you believe this?
Funny, man. Funny, dude. Well, going back to what I was saying earlier, I know that you're not really feeling baseball, but your Houston Astros beat up on the Dodgers, man, with the 1-2 punch of Greinke and Kershaw.
Yeah, I know. I saw Kershaw go down yesterday, and it was funny. I saw some of the highlights of that because you had the guy who was. Wait a minute, was it that game? No, it wasn't that game. It was another game. My bad. I'm thinking about another game. No, it's that game. Didn't the guy didn't the guy steal home plate or something in that game?
I did not watch the game.
Okay.
I did not watch any part of that game. All I know is that Kershaw actually pitched really well. He had 8 innings, 7 hits, and 1 earned run, and still lost the game. And Greinke let up 3 earned runs the day before that, and they ended up losing both of them, man. So,
but Kershaw didn't lose the game. Actually, when the closer lost the game, the closer gave up a home run to tie the game.
Right. Exactly. So
that's musty. If you're a starting pitcher, you gotta be heated about that.
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
The ball over to you and you went and did that. I mean,
craziness. So there you go, kid. How about a little Rhythm Nation for you? A little Janet Jackson.
No,
a little old school poppin', dude. So what do you want to get into, man? We got week 3 of preseason coming up, man.
Dude, these cats, by the way, my fantasy league drafted last night. My team it's a mess, but it's pretty dope. They drafted last night, and I wasn't really aware of it till last minute. And I'm like, why are we drafting this early? Especially, we're doing an online draft, so why are we drafting this early? But we drafted last night. I don't know if you guys are interested, but I'll let you know who your boys has.
Oh, I'm so glad I'm not in that league this year, brother.
I know you are. I got your boy Drew Breezy. I got Adrian Peterson. I got Grunk. I got Mike Wallace, Marquise Colston, Terrence Williams. I've got Owen Daniels, Jay Cutler, Vernon Davis, and Pierre Garçon. I also have that I got to get rid of Rowdy White. And CJ Spiller's good. Roddy Wright's good. I gotta get rid of Jordy Nelson because I got Jordy Nelson.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brutal, man. How you gonna do that? If he's going for the season,
I'm just gonna
have to drop him. Oh wow, that sucks.
Well, I got played where I drafted him at. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Well, he got injured. He wasn't injured when we did the draft. But and I love it because I'm in there arguing with them about, yo, you can't. This is way too early. Why are we drafting this early? Because it caught me by surprise. Because you know how it is.
Of course.
He emails this stuff, and you know how the emails get, and you got all this. So I'm like. So then he hits me up with, yo, we're drafting. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go on and draft. And then, like, right as we're drafting, I think what's his name goes down. I'm like, see, this is why we shouldn't be drafting. So, I went ham on them in there.
Oh, man. The Dream loves to complain, guys. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you gathered that about him a little bit, but these guys are dead. If that happened to you, kid, you're gonna be going ham on them all season now.
It's not that the Dream loves to complain. The Dream loves for people to do stuff the way you're supposed to do it.
I always say around 12 noon is when you usually start complaining, because I'll get like a text be like, yo, what's this all about? What's that all about? I'm like, son, I'm working. Leave me alone. Fall back.
Yeah, that's working. Still looking at a baseball future. Somebody's working, trying to figure out how to buy his way out of the Phillies. I'm like, son, can you please?
Funny, man. Funny. So,
all right, so let's get going.
All right, so we got an NFL's preseason game tonight, though, Dream. We got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How amazing of a game is that?
Should be incredible. I'm trying to figure out, what does Marvin Lewis have to do for Cincinnati to let him go? Because dude is not one.
They make the playoffs almost every year, but sometimes that's not good enough. You feel?
No way.
Especially when they go in. I mean, I think they got it. I think they got to move on from Dalton. I really don't like Dalton.
Dude, Dalton. Dalton's contract is like crispy, like brand new. I mean, he's like, and he's young.
Yeah.
I don't. They believe that's their guy.
It's unbelievable. Unreal, man. There's certain situations that I feel, in my opinion, that are just never gonna work out. I'm thinking Dalton over there. I'm thinking Rivers in San Diego.
I think Rivers is never
I'm thinking
out.
Tannehill in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain things that I just don't see will ever work out as far as to win a title.
And Tebow being an NFL quarterback, it's not gonna work out either.
The fans are liking Tebow over there, though.
The
man.
fans love because they just fans are fans.
They're feeling Tebow over in Philadelphia
Tebow right now until he throws them 2 to 3 interceptions. But he ain't. Well, they better get ready for something, because I don't know if Bradford's gonna make the whole season.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And who else they got? They got Sanchez too, right?
They got Sanchez, and they also have Matt Barkley's in that mix as well.
Wow.
So they got it. Somebody's getting. One of them isn't making a cut. Well, between Sanchez, Tebow, and Matt Barkley, one of them is still not going to make the cut. So we'll see. We have to keep our eye out on that. They've been pretty good in preseason. So it's like you just got finished saying, though, beware of a awesome preseason team.
Yes, we'll see what ends up happening with that. But their offense looked pretty good the other night. I was watching a little bit of it on, what was it, Saturday?
I didn't get to catch it. That was the night of my block party, and I didn't get to catch any of that. But I heard that they look good. I mean, they put up a lot of points again. So, hey, hopefully that works out for them. Now, I want to talk about this one little quick thing. Yesterday, Reggie Wayne tried out for the Patriots.
Oh.
Yep, Reggie Wayne got a physical or whatever, if the Patriots gave him a physical or whatever they do. So we're going to keep our eye on that, because I keep trying to tell you guys, I've been telling you that I believe that Reggie Wayne on the right team would be very productive in the right system. I want him to go to Seattle. Everybody said, oh, you're crazy. Oh, he's too old. Oh, he's too injured. I'm saying, okay, all right. Let him go to the Patriots and go ham and wait and keep hearing about it on this show, because I already told you about it early.
Hey, we'll see what ends up happening with that. Do you have a caller calling in today? I got Doug Upstone calling today. That's right, man. Let me get my brother in here. Do I got Mr. Upstone on the line this morning?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Oh, we're fantastic, brother. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's a nice, good-looking morning here in the desert, so things are good.
Yes, Doug. If you could enlighten the listeners and let them know, because it's been a long time since you've been on. You were on during college basketball and tore it up. So can you let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and the whole package, so we can get popping here?
Absolutely. The name is Doug Upstone, and that's real easy to remember, the last name, just like it sounds. And I'm at VegasProInsiderDaily.com. I'm a sports analyst, handicapper, do a lot of writing for a lot of different people. including Sportsbook Review, involved in the Vegas Insider newsletter. I've worked for StatBox in the past, done interviews and things with covers. So all over the place. I'm also at one of the best sites for top handicappers at sportscapping.com. But home is at VegasProInsiderDaily.com. And hey, things are going well. Just personally, just wrapped up another fine baseball season. Cut it off right now so I can just go forward and concentrate wholly on football as we are starting to really roll into that.
Oh, that's Dream. That's right up your alley there. Just cutting baseball off.
Hooray to that.
Actually, I miss it because I love the day-to-day grind of it. But, it just, there's only so many hours in a day and you got to move on,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm entrenched into it, but I definitely want to hear what you got to say about the pigskin and see what we got going on. What's on your brain? Are you feeling college? You feeling pro? Talk to me, Doug. What are you thinking so far?
Well, I've spent plenty of time on both, but two things that the potentially interesting topics, and one is the SEC, and with their conference this year, and I wrote an article earlier this month about at least in my opinion, there's a real possibility that the SEC might not. I'm not saying they won't, but they might not have a team in the Final Four this year for the college football playoffs, and here's why. Is that you look at the top teams, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Ole Miss, and even to a lesser degree, LSU. All of them are having to replace a quarterback. And as we know, is in the NFL, it has transitioned into the college game, is that you have to have solid quarterback play in order to win. And in all of those cases, all of those teams are introducing new quarterbacks, which I think is potentially gives them a problem. Some of the other teams are a little less shaky at the position, but obviously they're just not as talented as what those teams are.
All right. Sounds good. I mean, what do you think of Auburn emerging out of there?
I mean, Auburn is certainly, a potential play here, just to win not only the division but to win the SEC. To win the SEC, I'm just not sure they're not going to get stumped up. I mean, the hiring, they got the new defensive coordinator. I think Gus Malzahn is a very good football coach, and I like some of the things that they have on offense. It's just a matter, does it come together, with the quarterback? You have to think it will to a degree, and the same goes with Alabama, but you just never know. And in the case of Alabama, another big concern for me is their offensive line. And this will be probably the worst offensive line they've had since maybe Saban's first or second year. And, not some new faces. So I'm just not sure. Actually, one team that I sort of like more than any of them out of the SEC is LSU altogether. It's just a matter of whether they get enough out of their passing attack. But again, like I said, I'm not saying the SEC won't have a team there because it's still the SEC. Yeah. But, depending on how things play out in the rest of the country, I don't think it's a guarantee. I could see any one of those teams having 2 losses, during the course of the regular season.
Very interesting. Dream, imagine the Final Four without an SEC team.
I could imagine it, and I happen to, like I said, I'm not going to say that that it's necessarily going to happen, but I wouldn't be that surprised. I've been crying about the SEC and their lack of quarterback play for a minute now. Alabama seems to come in every year. They don't want to throw the ball. He wants to just run the ball every year and bore you to death and win 12-9. So I hear what he's saying, but we'll see what happens because something does sometime, always emerge. And I am interested in what Auburn is gonna do this season.
Yeah, no question about it. And hey, and speaking of different things, I know you guys, and I mentioned this to Rob. I know you guys got an East Coast bias. Of course, I'm just kidding. But talk a little Pac-12 out this way also. And hey, who doesn't want to party with Steve Sarkisian these days?
I know. He was all blown up the other night, man. I know we were talking about that earlier in the show. It's crazy, and there's not going to be any repercussions for that. Everybody was having drinks and having a good time. He's just got to clean up the language a little bit.
Yeah, well, anything can happen to anybody, but I'm sure, you probably read where Pat Hayden, the athletic director, took him to the side and definitely reprimanded him for his actions. And don't be surprised if there's, some behind-the-scenes repercussions, coming out of this. But that leads to a very good question. Okay, now USC is arguably the best team in that conference, but do they have the right coach that can take them, and have them win the Pac-12? He was known at Washington as 7-win Steve. His first year at USC wasn't too bad, but with the amount of talent, they're off sanctions. They should be in a good position, with Cody Kessler as the quarterback. But that division, talk about tough divisions. That division, the South and the Pac-12. I mean, you got UCLA, who has everything they need except a quarterback, so that's a problem. Arizona State is loaded. They got a very good defense that they're going to score with how their offense is set up, and Arizona still is going to be a threat. So that's a very interesting conference, or that part of it at least. Also, then have to consider Oregon and Stanford. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on them, but I can share something with you on that as well.
Yeah, who's going to be Oregon's quarterback this year? I haven't really done. I've been so entrenched in baseball that I haven't really been doing much homework on the college football. Who is this?
And when he says entrenched, he means losing.
Yeah, shut up.
Well, the guy that's getting the most talked about is the transfer from Eastern Washington, who is a very good player there. His name is Vernon Adams. He's a very dynamic player. Did a great job for Eastern Washington, who is a FBS power. The thing is, again, making the transition, the speed of the game, and certainly at that level to go to a program that is that good. And seemingly, if there's a year that Oregon is not going to be champions, it could be this year. Because they're not quite as good on either side of the line of scrimmage, even though potentially the offensive line could be very good. And it just has some weaknesses. It's just a little surprising for an Oregon team. But Stanford, as much as there is to like about Stanford, they only are bringing back 4 defensive players, and their depth isn't such they just plug guys in. So it's going to be between those two teams on the other side. I think you have to like USC and Oregon to win their divisions and be playing for the championship, and probably liking USC. But again, it's the college football is kind of weird. I mean, other than Ohio State and TCU, there's pretty much question marks about everybody else.
Everybody, yeah, sure. I agree with you 100%. And I'm still not sold. I still want to see TCU do it. You know what I mean? Because it's not that I'm not sold on them. I mean, we know what they did last year, but they don't necessarily have the same type of pedigree as the Ohio State program may have, where there's certain things that we definitely can expect out of them. So this is a little bit of different waters and different territory for them. So let's just see them go about doing it as well before we really give them the crown either.
Yeah. And speaking of them, what's a pretty fascinating first game. They're a 2-touchdown favorite at Minnesota in their opener, and that's I think that's a Thursday night game, as I recall. Yeah. And that'll be, Minnesota's good. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best team, not saying anything like that, but they certainly have qualities. And Jerry Kill, I really like him as a coach. Those guys will be fired up. So I'm not saying TCU's going to get beat, but that 14 is looking at the moment kind of tempting.
The thing with Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, they're a big triple option team. They like running that option. They like running that ball. I can't stand them, to be honest with you.
You got a sore taste in your mouth after them last year, huh, Dream?
Yeah, they did. I can't remember the game it was, but I was on board with them, and they caught me in one game that they got beat up, and I was like, I can't believe that I fell for this out of this team. I don't remember which game it was, but there was a game last year that they got smoke showed, and I was like so bitter towards them. So it is a sore spot with me, unfortunately. And I got. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I was just going to say that I have a loss for me. I remember my losses. I mean, like it was yesterday. I can go back thousands of years and give you losses because they just sting me so much. And Minnesota has one of those. I'm still mad at them about that.
They're real key to that team. I mean, defensively they're going to be good. Offensively, their quarterback Mitch Laettner He is a good runner, but he's only a so-so passer. So in order for them to beat or even to compete with TCU, he's going to have a really good game. Now they got smoked. I don't know if it was the TCU game last year that they got smoked, or maybe you had one that comes to mind wasn't against Illinois, was it? Because I know they lost that game.
I think it was against Illinois.
It was I think it was the Fighting Illini, Dream.
Nope, it was against Illinois.
Yes.
I think you're right.
Yep. Okay. That's what I remember the game, and I was thinking to myself, okay, come on, and I knew that had to be one because they were a short favorite, but I mean they were considered a far superior team, and they lost 28-24. Around a field goal, or maybe 4 points favored on the road, and really, I have to agree, an embarrassing loss to a really poor Illinois team.
Absolutely. Let's journey over to the ACC. What do you think of the Dukies?
They're a funny team, and I give David Cutcliffe the always the kind of like a Joe Madden in baseball, the benefit of the doubt,
Sure.
Just because he's the coach. And so Duke, I have them actually penciled in for 5th in their division, but I could see them finishing 3rd. Just because of Cutcliffe. He's an excellent coach. He knows how to formulate a team. They definitely had some losses from last year, but their defense will still be good. It's just a matter of are they able to pick up the pieces and do something offensively to compete. Again, another kind of funny conference. To me, Florida State and Clemson are both down from the past couple of years. And Georgia Tech has to replace a quarterback and all of their running backs, but their defense looks good and their offensive line looks good. And the one team that, if you're looking like the bet futures, the one team that I like a little longer number is Virginia Tech. The defense will be the best in the ACC. Offensively, this will be their best team in probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Now I'm not saying that's great. I'm just saying it's their best team that they've had recently. And we'll get a really, really good indication with their first game against Ohio State, who will be missing a couple starters because of suspension.
Yeah, 4 of them. 4 starters gone. So we'll see what ends up happening with that game. I mean, what is the line on that game?
Last I think I saw was 10.
Okay.
Ohio State was favored by 10. And I mean it's all deserved, certainly, and obviously they're going to have the motivation factor of having lost, to Virginia Tech last year. But we'll see, if they'll bring it and do what's necessary. And again, on Labor Day night, that'll be a fun matchup.
Absolutely. So I'd like to see. I'm definitely very excited about the college football season coming up. We got about 10 days left, and it's next Thursday night is the first matchups.
Right. Was it North Carolina? South Carolina will be one of the TV games. Mentioned Minnesota, and TCU is another one. So, and then the Friday night, you don't want to miss this. Baylor's only favored by 35 against SMU, so that's definitely must-see TV.
Yeah, we were talking about that game a couple of weeks ago when somebody else came on. We were trying to figure out what the line would be, and we said mid-30s, and sure enough, you got 35 points right then and there. So, I don't know. Doug, how do you feel about betting games week 1, week 2, week 3? I'm not one to. I mean, once I get one game into the belt, but I am definitely not one of those guys that jumps in with a slate of 20 games. The first week. Typically, if I do maybe 4, maybe 5, that's about it for the first week. And as opposed to the NFL, and everybody says the preseason doesn't matter, and of course it doesn't. But you do see things, that are kind of maybe eye-opening, good or bad, from those teams that you don't see in college. Only thing you have in college is the reports that from the team reporters or the league reporters, and so there's just the unknown. And as I just mentioned, and as you guys know, I mean, like I said, other than Ohio State and TCU, there's just things that are up in the air. Absolutely.
So I'm cautious to start the season. I take copious notes in watching all these games. So want to make sure that I'm well aware and try and pick out what's important and what's not. And and then week 2, then you start looking at matchups a little bit differently. And the old story of every team improves the most in any given season from game 1 to game 2. I definitely am a believer in that. So you start, by week 2, you start to at least formulate, things change as the season goes on for any number of different reasons. but still, you get strong indicators. And when you get to the end of the season and you look back at all the games that were played in week one, it's always interesting, the things that you saw. Okay, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we know, all too well when some of these teams are expected to come out like gangbusters and all of a sudden drop the first game. Remember, South Carolina last year was a heavy favorite over Texas A&M, and look what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's a perfect example. And then as you saw how their season played out, their defense was absolutely pathetic for the entire year. So that wasn't just that game. I think they finished 13th in the SEC in total defense, and that was a problem. And so, I mean, that's the thing that again, that first week, not everybody, maybe because of Labor Day, is on board and watching, all the variety of games, but definitely something to watch. No different than the Wisconsin-Alabama game. That's really a big game and a really intriguing game for both teams for that Saturday night game. Right.
I can't wait for it. Can't wait for a college football season to kick off, Dream.
No doubt. Me too. I'm in the same boat as you. What do we have as far as pros concerned? Thoughts?
The teams that I thought that had the best chance to come out of the NFC was Green Bay, but the news of Jordy Nelson, that's a big hit for the Packers. That's hard to, that's hard one to put into words into, the context of what that actually means, because that is Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy. And Nelson's been hurt before in the last couple of years.
Yep.
And so, and they've been able to work around it. But, that's still a huge loss. And if he's gone for the season, which is what it sounds like with that ACL, I mean, that really impacts the Packers, and you have to wonder, even though it's not their way to do things, if they would go and try and find another receiver, at least to make a move. Again, that's not how they do things. It's usually next man up. So I look at them. The rest of the NFC, Seattle, of course, is the other team in overall in there. But beyond that, you start to, Dallas has some holes. Philly's got some question marks, particularly quarterback and a few other positions. And in the AFC, it looks like New England. I'm not sold on Denver at all, by the way. I'll just get that out of the way. I would not be surprised if Kansas City won the division. I'm not saying Kansas City is, the end all, the be all. But I'm just Denver anymore. I think that the window of opportunity is starting to close, and in terms of winning the Super Bowl, I think it might already be shut.
Wow!
So New England and Indy are the two teams that I like out of the AFC. It depends, though, if and when Tom Brady is taken out of, in this case, purgatory, as he's in right now, and see where he goes.
Dream, that's your boy he's talking about. Might be sitting on the sidelines this year watching the playoffs. What do you think about that?
No, I think that he won't be sitting on the sideline watching the playoffs. The Denver should still be able to make the playoffs over there. I do like the fact that a lot of people feel like how you feel, and I'm not going to say anything to refute that as well. However, maybe that's good for Denver. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's good for him, because every year in the past, he's expected to go to the Super Bowl and win it. So maybe this year saying, you're done, he's got nothing left, his team's a wrap, maybe that will get this team to where they need to be, because, in past years when they've been highly touted, they haven't lived up to expectations.
Yeah, and the problem has been at the end is, and this is where the age thing becomes a factor. And believe me, I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. You're hard pressed to say from a career standpoint who's better. When you look at with everything that he's accomplished, and everybody's said, well, he's only won Super Bowl. Well, how many did Dan Marino win? Okay, so I'm not to me that is not the end all, the be all. So that's what I want to say, puts a signature on that person's career. I don't think that's the case. But, the last 2 years, his arm has gotten weaker as the season went along. Maybe, Gary Kubiak will do a better job as a former quarterback himself in terms of management of throws, during the course of the week. So to save some arm strength, that to me would make sense. I'm not saying that John Fox didn't, I'm just saying that, now that we have seen this happen, maybe there's something that can be done about it, and just to save him as best they can. Yes, lean on the running game, a little bit more than the passing game. Look what they did with John Elway at the end of his career. It wasn't just about him throwing the ball. It was a more balanced attack. They had a better defense. So can Denver do it? Yes, they can. But if they go with the same mindset they've had, in my opinion, the last few years, I don't see it happening. So if they change it up, that changes the whole dynamic.
Got it. Yeah, a lot of us have been talking about the Indianapolis Colts emerging as far as Andrew Luck having a stellar year and all that, and it sounds like you're on the same page as well.
Yeah. The amount of they have an overflow of good receivers, and maybe even well above average receivers. So that's one thing. They still, I think they got the running back now with Gore. So I think that's a plus. Their offensive line was better than it's been. And last year, don't forget, one of the things about that team, I believe they lost, it was either 3 or 4 defensive starters, okay, real early, but yet they had guys they found, stepped up, so now you bring those guys back, you add them with the depth, playing in a weak division, all of a sudden, they can have home field advantage if on the presumption, they have the kind of year that is expected, and so that everybody has to go through Indianapolis in order to get to the Super Bowl, which really is a more advantageous position for the Colts.
Yeah, great. Yeah, some people have been saying that their concern is their run defense. Have they made any additions to help this at all?
Well, they got some guys coming back. I mean, and that's the bigger thing. So I mean, they're not going to be great against the run defense because they don't have the size. So that's their biggest problem. By design, they look to rush the passer. But if you look at, for example, kind of where you guys are at, you look at the Giants Super Bowl teams. Now they had very good front fours. Okay, during those years, but essentially those guys are pass rushers. So they just were designed. Their responsibility to the running game was to just kind of clag things up as best they could and have linebackers make tackles. And I see a similar situation here with Indianapolis. Get after the passer, put the pressure on the opposing quarterback, and do at least do an adequate job against the run. They should be fine.
All right, cool deal. And they can definitely outscore you if they want to with Andrew Luck calling the plays. That's for sure.
I think his time has come, and I'm not saying it's a passing of the guard, but I think we're at about the point with Brady being 37. Tremendous thing happened last year, but I think his time has come, and I think he's ready to go, and the Colts are definitely going to be a threat.
Gotcha. Guys, we're talking to my man, Doug Upstone from VegasProInsider.com. Always stellar information. Love picking your brain about the football. Everybody's on Twitter here hitting me up saying they're excited.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, I'm not giving up on baseball. I'm still going to definitely be following it. I'm just not going to be betting it as much. And one of the things on the different packages that I have is I am affiliated with a bunch of guys that live basically west of the Rocky Mountains, and they send me their selections on a daily basis, and I post it as one of the things within the context of the package. It's called the West Coast Wise Guys Report. And these guys, I mean, they're sharp. I mean, they know their stuff, and I put out a consensus report within the context of that. And, I think they're hitting about 56% on over 1,400 picks in the last year and a half or so on that. And to some people, that might not sound like much until you start.
But that sounds realistic, though.
Yeah, right.
So thank you.
Well,
because we get some people who come out with these numbers that I sit here and I listen to the playback and I scratch my head and like, dude, wait a minute. How are you 90? Did you say 99%? Like, really?
Well, that's the thing. Here's the deal on that is that if you figure 1,400 plays, I mean, this is just, we can do simple math, and if you just bet $100, or in this case, essentially $110 on everything but baseball, which flat bet it at 100 for baseball. If you do the math and you start figuring how much money you just made doing it that way, okay, it's pretty impressive. And for anybody that the 90%, you know what, you can hit 90% out of 10 plays. that can happen, to everybody, every so often. But to consistently do that, and I had a chuckle the other day. I saw one of these. I got a kick out of it. How to hit 91% in the NFL preseason, and they gave their study was they had somebody saying, well, we knew about this team because of a situation in the locker room. Okay, and now this is the NFL, and you guys know. I mean, the NFL locker room, it is airtight.
Yes.
Okay, nobody's getting in there.
No.
Nobody has inside information, and that was stuff that happened back in the late '80s and early '90s, where guys were handicapping, saying they had inside information before the internet was even around. I saw this like, oh, here we're going retro here. We're bringing up old wives' tales from 25 years ago, and it's like it just couldn't be any further from the truth, of course. But yet, that's what people do. That's not what I do. Put it that way.
Cool
I'm a straight
deal.
shooter.
Cool.
So that's what it's all about.
Well, Doug, baseball is all pretty much money lines unless you're doing run lines. Are you bringing any kind of money lines into NFL or college football? Do you bet the money lines, or are you just strictly point spreads?
No. Well, I mean, I definitely with baseball money lines, some run lines. I've never been a big totals player, quite honestly, in any sport. Just end up running out of time to really know it that well. But definitely money lines for sure. And I do some money lines in football. And this is more of a personal taste, is that, if you can run into enough, and particularly in the NFL, I don't mind doing some parlays with money lines in the NFL, grouping 3 or 4 teams together. They're not necessarily huge payouts because, some of the lines are fairly hefty, but I just look at it from the standpoint if it has a chance to win, okay, and the idea ultimately is about winning when it comes to money.
Wow.
That's what I do. I don't.
Oh, dream! They're speaking. You just made a best friend with the dream.
You made a best friend out of me, but there's a whole bunch of other cast listeners like, oh, there's no way.
That's the dream's favorite thing to do, brother.
What's that?
I'm a money line. I like the money line parlay. I like the money line a lot of NFL games. As I absolutely positively hate point spreads. I mean, I do play point spreads from time to time, but I'm a bigger advocate of taking 2 heavy favorites, putting them together at home with the money line, and just getting, like you said, getting the win and getting out of Dodge and not being bothered with you have to put more money up, and it doesn't always pay out well. But some of the critics, that style isn't, they don't like it. They rather,
yeah, right. Well, the other thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, well, I was to your point. I mean, I understand it. In terms of, if you look at it from a financial standpoint, it isn't always the best and the smartest way to wager. I mean, there's no question about that. And if you want to take it from a purely analytical point of view, the other thing, though, about it is, like I said, and I think you'll agree, Dream, is that, sometimes you just see situations, and you know that you can put together 3 or 4 teams, and you're very confident that those 4 teams are going to come through. And right. I think over a course of a year, if you bet, I'm not saying even every week. Myself personally, it might end up being 7 or 8 times a year where you find 3 or 4 teams that look good that you just can't see if they're going to lose. And then ultimately, if you bet those, and if you hit 4 out of 7, okay, theoretically you're making some halfway decent money on what you just did, and you're not hitting a great percentage either on these, but you're still making money. And as I said, ultimately that's what betting is about, making money.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, Doug Upstone from Vegas Pro Insider. Doug, you've been outstanding, man. Always great information. Always great information.
Yeah, I love the preparation is the key. I think we all know that. And so that's the whole thing, is that, if you're going to do this, you have to know what you're doing. You have to be prepared for what's going to occur, and you have to look at as many possibilities as time allows. And that's what I do, and that's what my customers pay me to do, is to be able to do that. So yeah, so that's the whole biggest part of it. And as opposed to a lot of guys, one of the things that I think that separates what I do as opposed to others is that I don't have another job. Okay, my job is to follow the stuff. I write for other people. I'm studying this stuff all day long, so that's what I do, and that's where where I've developed to whatever degree my reputation, and winning is obviously a big part of it. Finished number 1 in the NFL in 2013, and had a good year last year as well. And college football always a strong area for me. So I'm excited. I'm fired up for another huge season, and can't wait to get it going.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on and breaking down this stuff with us.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine, gentlemen. You guys do a great job. You have a fantastic show. I know you got a huge audience and a very active audience, which is really, I think, in today's world, which is very key. No, I really believe that. And so you got a lot of people, participating with you and your interaction, and you guys deserve all the accolades. Believe me.
All right. Thank you so much, Doug. Great kind words. I appreciate that.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Take care.
it.
Have a good
great
one.
rest of the week.
You too. All right, Dream, my man Doug Upstone, always ripping it up, man. Good stuff, huh?
No doubt.
Yeah,
I love hearing this.
Getting you ready for football, baby, because we got to talk a little baseball right now.
No, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm leaving with Doug. You can hold down the baseball with yourself. You and the rest of the
You about to go hit him up after this, huh? Be like, yo, want to do a show?
You and the rest of the junkies, man. Anybody still playing baseball, you really got a gambling problem.
Nah, man, baseball's good, man. Baseball's good.
I'll just tease it.
Except for the
players don't even want to play.
I know. I hear you.
They talk about drafting fantasy teams.
Yes, definitely. All right, man. Let's get this thing going and see what we got as far as the baseball is concerned, man. So just going real quick. I'm not going to go obviously break down through all the games, Dream. We don't have enough time, but I think we could just kind of look at a couple of key matchups as far as the division races and the wild cards and all that. I think that's probably the best thing for us to do. We're not going to talk about, even though, guys, there is a game during the day today, Cleveland at the Chicago Cubs. Cleveland, Corey Kluber versus John Lester. Cubs minus 140. I don't have a total yet, nor do I care about this particular game. I got to be honest with you. But
Dude, I just want to just say this. I don't know if you know this, but on Friday on Ralph's show, I said that I liked Hoyer to be the starting quarterback for the Texans.
Yep.
You know they named him as the starting quarterback.
Oh, nice.
Your boy's off the hook, man.
Well, I don't think they were going to give it to Johnny Football anyway, bro.
No, I'm sorry, Houston, brother.
Oh, Houston. All right.
Houston.
All right.
It was that Mallett. Ryan Mallett was the other guy that was in the running. Okay. And they seemed like they were, but I liked Hoyer better than him and came out, whatever.
All right. So, dude, check this one out. We got your Houston Astros going into the New York Yankees today, man. New York Yankees minus 135, under over of 8. Houston, Scott Feldman. New York Yanks, Nathan Eovaldi.
Hey, quick question I got to ask. Do you know what's going on with the Yankees as far as CC's concerned? I thought I saw Girardi in the press conference.
Yeah, he had something with a knee injury. I think they're going to put him on the DL for a little bit of time. I don't think it's anything crazy serious, but, I don't know for sure. We're going to have to read up on it and see exactly what the extent of the injury is. But nothing as far right before the show, I was doing some homework on some news, and I couldn't find anything to give us a clear identification of what his injury is. But they do have Pineda coming back this week, so they were going to go to a 6-man rotation, and obviously they can't right now with CC out of the lineup. But let's see what ends up happening when Pineda comes back. But tonight they got Eovaldi at 7:05 Eastern Standard Time start. And what do you have for respective ERAs as far as these two guys?
Eovaldi's 13-2 with a 4.24 ERA. The Yankees are 36-24 at home, and they are really good at home. So be careful. And the Astros are really bad on the road. And plus, coming off that big win, I would not be surprised at all if the Astros drop, especially this game tonight. They're putting Philbin on the mound. He's 5-5 with a 4.05 ERA. You guys know I generally like the Astros. They're one of my teams. I also like the Yankees. I talk about them quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think the Astros mentally, though, are so pumped off of beating the Dodgers in the series and the way that game went last night that I would not at all be surprised if they dropped at least tonight's game to the Yankees. So if you're interested, you might want to go ahead and grab the Yankees. I'm not telling you. Obviously, you don't have to listen to me because I'm not that invested in what I'm doing, but I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about. So you might, if you're thinking about this game, be careful if you're looking to go with Astros, because I don't think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But the New York Yankees just got beat up by the Cleve Indians, man.
Even more of a reason why I would like
3 out of 4, dude. My God.
Yeah.
Terrible. So Houston's traveling now, going into New York. Like you said, did their thing against the LA Dodgers, actually swept them, and we'll see what ends up happening now that they go on the road. So when you look at the Houston Astros real quick, I just want to see what their upcoming schedule is real quick, because we got my boys kind of breathing down their neck. So let's just take a look here. They got to go. They're doing the Yankees, and then they got to go to the Twins. Ouch. That's an ugly 6-game set, 6-game road trip. Damn. All right, so you know what, guys? I don't really like this game. You know what? If I had to lean, it would be the New York Yankees, but I'm going to stay away with Houston being as bad as they are on the road. So going into the next one here, let's see what we've got as far as key matchups. You got DeGrom going against the Philadelphia Phillies' Adam Morgan, but I'm not messing with New York Mets minus 220 with an under-over of 7. You know what? You never know with this Philadelphia's team, man. They always seem to be a thorn in the side, and you got DeGrom minus 220. Mets should get it done, but you know what? I'm not getting involved in it. Got a couple of other games here. Colorado, Atlanta, no interest. Pittsburgh, Miami, no interest. Detroit, Cincinnati, no interest. Here's a key one, dude. Baltimore at Kansas City. Baltimore coming off losing 4 straight games at home to the Twins, Dream. That series beat me up bad, dude. I got to be honest with you. Because I was messing with Baltimore a little bit there. And Baltimore's putting Ubaldo Jimenez versus Chris Medlin for the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City minus 132 with an under-over of 8. What do you got here?
All right, we got the Royals, who are 42-20 at home. Medlin is 1-0 with a 2.51 ERA. Jimenez 9-7 with a 1.97 ERA. Orioles are 25-36 on the road.
All right, guys. So taking a look at this game. Kansas City, I don't know what to make of Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's really kind of just fell off, losing 4 straight games. They're 5-5 in their last 10. I don't really like this particular matchup. Ubaldo Jimenez, let's just see what he's done in his last few outings. If I could pull this up real quick. Versus New York Mets, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned run versus Oakland. 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs versus Oakland as well. Kansas City coming back home. You know how I feel about these teams that are on a road trip and come back home their first game. Kind of spooks me out a little bit. So I'm going to stay away from this one as well, Dream. I'm not really feeling it.
Okay.
The next one we have here is we got Boston, Chicago White Sox. Not really feeling this one too much. Both of these teams are on the outside looking in right now as far as the wild card race is concerned. The White Sox have definitely fell off. Oakland, Seattle, don't really care about that. But this one might be pretty interesting, Dream. The St. Lucia Cardinals are coming in to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And St. Lucia putting Lance Lynn on the mound versus Robbie Ray for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dude, the D-backs are over 500 now.
I know.
It's almost like this, bro. If there's 2 teams that are like hovering around the 500 mark that you do not want to play right now in the AL and the NL, I would say that in the NL it's the Arizona Diamondbacks and in the AL it's the Texas Rangers. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think I gotta agree with you on that, brother.
Yeah, just over, like hovering around the 500 mark. So I don't know. When I look at this game, St. Lucia, they took their lumps a little bit versus San Diego, but ended up bouncing back with a 10-3 victory yesterday. What do you got for ERAs here as far as this is concerned?
Lynn is 9-8 with a 2.94 ERA. Ray is 3-9 with a 3.38 ERA. Diamondbacks are 30-29 at home. The Cardinals are 32-26 on the road. I've got no opinion about this.
No, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. St. Louis, believe it or not, kind of owns the Arizona Diamondbacks. 9-1 in the last 10 versus Arizona, bro. Arizona 4-1 in the last 5 games and 6-2 straight up in the last 8 games at home. This is something to be interesting, man. I think Arizona might be able to do something in this series. I don't
can't bet.
I can't bet it though. I can't bet it. I'm
do it.
just, you know what? Let's see if Arizona has any kind of chance whatsoever. Let's see what they do versus a decent team. So that's pretty much it, dude. I don't really see anything as far as the baseball is concerned.
The only thing I see as far as the series is concerned, you might want to look right here at the Pittsburgh Pirates playing the Miami Marlins. The Marlins got Kohler on the mound, 8-11 with a 4.02 ERA. Pittsburgh's got Happ, 5-7 with a 4.42. That's a series right there that the Pirates, to keep their pace and do their thing, they need to go ahead and go get it. The Marlins won't be that difficult. So the Pirates should go get that. As far as the series is concerned, you might want to look at that, guys. But then again, you may not. I don't know. But personally, it is the only thing that's standing out to me as being semi-attractive.
Yeah, I mean, Miami and Philadelphia are actually tied for the bottom of the NL East with 50 wins and 74 losses. And at home, they are, let me just see right here. They're actually they're 4 games under 500 at home. So, I don't know. You know what? Good luck with that if you're going to get involved in that. You know what? For me, I'm kind of a little gun shy. I got to be honest with you. I got to really feel a good spot, and I just don't see any today, to be honest with you, Dream. So we will keep it moving and get ready for football. How about that?
No doubt. I'm excited to hear that. That's awesome.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for our show today. As far as the preseason game, Dream, I'm not really feeling anything there either. So this might be.
I don't do. I don't do preseason. So, you guys, please. I don't know if you've been doing it, but I've been watching here or there. They do mad dumb stuff. Going for 2 quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Going for it on fourth and short situations. Guys making guys doing dumb things because they're trying too hard to make the team. So be very careful if you're doing it. Go light, easy with the wagers. One more thing, guys. I don't know if you guys are doing it, but the week 1 lines are out. They've been out probably for a minute now too. With a few games as far as the pros concerned. I don't know if you're doing a college, but really attractive game to me, man. I really like that Colt game, and I really would expect that the Colts would get up to 3. It's -2.5 at last look. I really expect that's going to probably get up to 3.5 by week 1. So you might want to get involved with that now if you're looking to get it under. If you're not going to money line it like I probably will. You might want to get involved with that. I'll tell you, with this 2-point conversion thing, until I can see what they're going to do week 1, I am definitely not trying to feel no points. I'm definitely probably going to do money lines for sure week 1.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Colt, but when you get a -2.5, you got to lay the 2.5, bro, because that's not that big of a deal. That's a field goal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in my opinion. I mean, you do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? I respect your opinion, but for me, if I'm going to get the Colts, I'm just going to lay the 2.5, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably money line week 1 like I was saying, because like I said, with the 2-point conversion, versus this kicking thing, I just don't know that I don't know what the other teams' philosophies are, especially a team like Buffalo too with Rex Ryan.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So then you end up in a situation where the Colts win by 1 point. Dude, Daddy ain't trying to lose week 1 like that.
Why don't you do an open teaser, man? Get them plus 3.5.
No, something like that, or whatever. You know how I get down. But I'm just putting that recommendation out there as the points are low, and that game's looking really attractive to me as of right now. Things may change, of course, but as of right now, it's looking attractive. So if it is to you, I'm just pointing it out. Guys, thank you so much. Today's show was incredible as we talked football really, really deep. We got really into the nuts and bolts of it with my man Doug Upstone, and I loved his take on everything. Loved all the information out there. Loved everybody that is supporting us as always. Let me give a quick shout out to the people who have been retweeting the show. If I can get that pulled up, if you guys give me a second, as my screen just went black on me. Wow. You got him, brother?
I can pull him up in a minute. Yeah, absolutely, man. I was just, you got me excited. I started looking at some NFL lines for week 1, man.
Yeah, I've been looking at them, and I've been kind of, don't go too crazy, because you know how it's going. Jordy Nelson just went down yesterday.
Yeah, right.
So I imagine that line's already making some movement changes. So to be careful, because don't get caught out.
Right.
But That's interesting. I can't.
All right, no problem. I got Ed out there. I got the pick. Let's see who else. It just takes me a little while as I scroll through, guys. I got Shy Picks out there. I got Papa Bear hitting us up this morning. Good morning to you. I got Kian Vu. I got Clown Man Swag. L.A. Whiz Kid. Let's see. Sin City Maverick. Revelation of Random. Got my man Irvin. I've got, let's see. Scrolling through. Sorry, guys.
I got it. Here we go.
Okay,
Ed,
go for it.
Chai Picks is out there. KMVU, LA Whiz Kid, Revelation of Random. That's a new name, and welcome to the party, player. AZ Wildcat 83 is out there. BT, my man Jason Riley. Vegas Girl 92661 is out there as well. Vegas Pro Sports Insiders, is out there. NFL Fans 2015, Tanakis. Find an Aussie book is out there. Good morning to you. Welcome to the party from our Australian connection. Immaculate is out there. NFL Fantasy Plus. Find a Vegas bookie. Football Experiences is out there. JC's out there. My man Winkley. Skippy Bets is out there. Total Sports Edge. What's going on is there. Mario Christos, P for Press, Angelo Nunez, Benjamin Rowe, MG86, Clownman Swag, Get a Vegas Bookie, C. Rodriguez Jr., Dana's Better, Canadian Capper, Marlon, Justin Hernandez, Sin City Maverick, Rick Lopez, Jordy Best, Lone Star Ombre, and Average Joe Punter checking in from sunny Australia. I am the dream, guys. Always remember who you with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, it may be a day off for the Mad Hatter as far as gambling's concerned. We will have that conversation later on, but I'm not seeing anything I love. And when you don't see anything you love, sometimes the best bet you ever made was the one you never played. That's all I got to say about that. We are Sports Bettors TV, the biggest show in the world, having an absolute blast 7 days a week. We love you to death. Go out there, go easy, do your own homework, bet your own plays, make all your dreams a reality, and get that money. Let's go.